Welcome back to Yoshi Entertainment, everybody. So just recently, Brian McKnight is making the headlines again, and I say again because this is not the first time this has happened, because it is going around that he allegedly has been very deadbeatish, if you will, to his biological children. Now, if you know anything about Brian McKnight, he has his biological children, then he has his children, his stepchildren that he has with his current wife, who is a woman of no color. I don't know exactly what she is, but she's not black. Now, they have been having this issue for a couple of years now. If I'm not mistaken, it was back in 2019 when he did something along the lines of made some kind of post where it looked like he was really excluding his biological children. If I'm not mistaken, some time ago, he bought his stepdaughter, one of his stepchildren, a car and posted it all over social media. And people were asking him, okay, well, what about your other children, your biological children? Why don't you show them that same attention that you're showing your stepchildren? Like I said before, he also made a post basically trying to say that whenever he had his stepdaughter, or I guess whenever he was married and that woman became his stepdaughter, he basically made some kind of post saying that he's a girl dad now, which was a slap in the face, really, let's just be honest, to his biological children, because he has 4 biological children. He had a daughter before he even came into the life of those children. So to say that that girl made him a, girl dad when he already had a daughter, that's an absolute slap in the face. I don't care what happened or what transpired between the two of them. That should have never came out of his mouth in such a public way. Now, a lot of people will say, well, you don't know what the kids did. The kids this and the kids do that. But people sit up on the internet and act like there are some malicious parents in this world who haven't done stuff like this. Went and allegedly got, one family and then got mad and then went to another community and then got another family and completely forgot about the family that they had. I say forgot about, but forgot about on purpose, so to speak, allegedly. Now, like I said, people, brought this up again because, like I said, this stuff happened like a couple of years ago, but they brought it up again for whatever reason, and people are still calling him out. He made a whole video, like I said, back then, talking about how all the stuff that he did for his kids, talking about he didn't miss not one child support payment, and people pointed that out, and they're like, okay, well, you don't get brownie points for doing what you were supposed to do. You can cry and whine about kids that you got to take care of now, but you weren't thinking about that when you laid up with that woman and had those kids. You got her pregnant on purpose. You know what I'm saying? So why should we feel sorry for you when you are supposed to be doing this as a father? You're supposed to be taking your own responsibility and accountability for actions you made. Those kids didn't ask to be here. They didn't ask to be brought here, let alone by you. But he went on a whole tangent rant about, how awful they were, all the things that he gave them, that they were, too privileged, and he tried to give them this, that, and whatever, and that they took advantage of it and all that. And I kind of was like, okay, well, you're saying all this, and this is coming from your perspective, but what about your kids? I like to hear it from both perspectives. Not saying that he was completely wrong, but like I said, sometimes one or the other side gets ahead of the media, and then the media gets on their side. And then they throw the other side under the bus. And I feel like there was a lot of instances where his kids were thrown under the bus. They all listened to Brian McKnight because it was Brian McKnight. And they didn't question it because, again, we have to go back to well, should a parent keep taking care of their child? I'm not saying that you should be like 49, 90 years old, still sitting in your parents' basement with no job, no aspirations, no goals. But people have gotten it really messed up and confused. I keep saying this over and over again. The cost of living is ridiculous. It's through the roof, okay? Children cannot completely take care of themselves unless they're making really good money. At some point in time, they're going to need a safety net. You know what I'm saying? Like some children, they still live with their parents, even above the age of 22, 25, but they have jobs. They are, footing their own financial bills, but they're still depending a little bit on their parents. And unfortunately, that's what it has to be these days, because people don't make a lot of money. Like I said, the cost of living is ridiculous, and people have started to come out of that really prideful, disrespectful, and malicious mindset, especially that the Black community has put out there and on their children, that you have to be out of the house and have it all together by 18. That's literally impossible, and it is very malicious and disgusting and heinous to pull the rug from under your children at 18, at 21, knowing they don't have it all together and telling them basically get out of the nest, basically doing like what the Eagles do and kicking them out when they're not ready to stand on their own legs, financially, mentally, emotionally, physically, just because you don't want them there anymore. I feel like people have kids and they forget that you are responsible for these human beings. Like I said, I'm not saying like you hold their hand completely until the day they die or the day you die, but you can't just act like you don't have any responsibility to them because they're older now. Like I said, sometimes they don't make as much money as some other kids do. They might need your help. Like, don't get them confused with these athletes' children. You know what I'm saying? The children of some of these athletes and actors and actresses. Or, for other children who are athletes and actresses. Okay, so what? They didn't have some, miraculous talent. They couldn't run up and down the field or throw a stupid ball through a hoop. And that's not to disrespect anybody in those fields of, athleticism. But the average person is a normal person trying to make a living the best way they know how, honestly. If they need your help as their parent, what is wrong with you helping them? Like, if you have a house you can allow them to stay in, but they're working to take care of themselves for the most part, what is wrong with that? And again, this is something also that's really bad in the Black community. I cannot tell you how many people I've seen on the internet and come across, personally, who are bitter and vexed because their parents pushed them out and abandoned them when they had nowhere to go. They weren't ready financially. They couldn't take care of themselves. They didn't have it all together. And it's not just because they were rebellious little twits that didn't want to listen. No, the parents were just malicious. They didn't want to be responsible and accountable parents. They wanted to just, oh, well, you're 18. I don't have to take care of you no more. Like I said, that's heinous. And God is going to hold every parent who does that to their kids very much accountable. You might not catch it today, but sometime between now and when you go to meet Jesus, because you're going to go to meet him eventually, he's going to hold you accountable for that, just to let anybody know who's very confused. But I feel like this is a good example of this, because he was saying, like I said back in the day in that video, well, I told them I was going to not completely cut them off, but be done with them or whatever, and I paid all my child support. But notice he didn't say, oh, well, I made sure I was at every birthday, every basketball game, every track meet. It was really giving, I did the bare minimum, give me my cookies for it. And I'm just not here for it. And a lot of people aren't here for it. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I think it was a slap in his children's face. I don't care what went down between them. I'm not saying that they did everything right. But despite what happened between the two of them, whether it was all him, all them, they did not deserve that post that he made, where he posted, oh, he was, so joyous that, that was the best daughter that he could have ever asked for, as if he didn't have other kids somewhere. They might not have made you proud or have looked the way you wanted them to, allegedly, but those were still your kids that you went up and you laid up and you decided to have. They deserve the same respect that you give to them other kids that you didn't have. That's very disrespectful. Like I said, it's a slap in the face to those other kids, and they did not deserve that at all. And like I said, people are giving him the side eye, as they should be, because he ain't the first, and he's probably, unfortunately, not going to be the last. But anyways, y'all let me know what y'all thinking, how y'all feel down in the comments below respectfully. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Y'all have a good day.